these little, oh, we got a certain little joke for Junior, you know, ho, 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 ho. Like, you got to raise up.
I was in that situation. My little black hair be beating the hell out of little white cousin. This is for slavery.
Exactly. But you
know they gonna call him a nigga.
Exactly. Somebody gonna slip up and say it, and your kid needs to know when that happens. Tell dad, because dad got enough money to go down and get a misdemeanor. As long as I hit you less than 5 times, it's a misdemeanor and not an assault. I mean, it's what. I'm pretty sure that you can
5 times. You can hit 1 time. That's assault, bro.
No. 1 time is simple battery. You're just trying to keep it in simple battery.
Depending on what you hit them with.
8 to 80.
Huh?
From 8 to 80, they can get it.
Yeah, from 8 to 80.
Oh, stupid.
I mean, yeah. He said anybody between them age range can get their ass whooped. Anybody. But let's get on to the Tinder story. You hit us up on that one. This girl met this guy on Tinder. They had been speaking back and forth for a couple of months. Said he would be in her city for a couple of days on business. They agreed to meet at Benihana's, which, shout out to Drake for putting Benihana's back on the map. She told him that they would meet there, and after that, she would go back to his hotel with him. So she was basically like, we about to fuck. They met up. They went well. They talked about any and everything. And he let her know that he was relocating to her city. So she was super excited. The bill came and the total was $96. He took out a $100 bill and said, hey, can you get the rest of the tip? And that's when this quote unquote set off red flags on her head. She said the man is supposed to pay for everything, including the tip. So she took another bite out of her food and told him that she left her wallet in her car, and then she basically ghosted this nigga. Then she decided that if you can't pay for dinner without my help, then you're a bomb, period. So first of all,
a bomb?
I think she meant bum, but she said bomb.
But it says bomb.
Yeah. So, first of all, why is it that you think that splitting a tip, of all things, on what? What was that?
Man, nigga spent $96 on food. You couldn't drop $5?
You couldn't drop $10? Because he already helped you out before.
I don't believe in tipping, so you asking the wrong person.
I mean, $3?
You couldn't drop nothing?
Nah, it's against my religion.
Well, I believe in tipping because I know people who work in the...
That's good, man. You work in those industries, too, and I always tell them to get a better job. I live in pieces for a living. I know how terrible it is.
I know, but I'm saying I don't contribute to how terrible it is. I'm the only person who's like, you might fuck over everybody else, but you're not going to fuck over me.
I'm the type, I do that with women. If I pay for dinner, then you just got to pay the tip. Like, that's it.
I think that's a reasonable thing.
Because I don't like tipping.
It's not even that. The fact is, I paid for the meal. So you're normally not going to be eating at some place that's like $96. But if you eat some place where it's like $35, you could tip in like $4 or $5. Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Is this is a simple thing.
I wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and pay for that and the tip. But sometimes, go ahead and get that for me. Because the only time I would probably really ask for her to pay, you know what I'm saying, for the tip is if I don't have, like...
Cash?
If I ain't trying to break this 20.
Yeah, if I ain't trying to break this, you know what I'm saying, this 20.
Well, see, I normally carry stripper bills because, it's a smart way to go about things. But on top of that, I also don't like tipping the government. So I never tip on a card because that shit gets taxed.
Industry, you always say you get like $2. So.
I know you gotta pay some to the food stamps, but that's why I always tip in cash, because if you want to lie to your coworkers, that's between you and them.
And also this too, man, depends on how the waitress is too. Like if they not a
because
good
you know
waitress,
it's probably not gonna be a winner.
I would actually really like that would actually make me want to tip somebody if they actually acting right.
I have like 2 good waiters in my life, and it's always been somewhere weird. Like one of them was at Red Lobster, this Jamaican dude. Nigga lied about the food, but he just the way he did it. Such delicacies taken in front of the Mediterranean Sea. I was like, damn, boy, you got the presentation right. I was like, why you working here? He said, because I'm good at my job. I just got my tax money too, tipped the nigga $40.
but the thing about it is, that's the kind of service that gets the
that was my baby mama tax money. I ain't seen no tax money. Just let y'all know.
Yeah. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. Like that, it made you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So situations like that, it's like, yeah, I want to. Like I would actually break this $100 to tip something. You know what I'm saying? But like, if that person, like some female, especially females, man, when they come to work. And they just have this attitude like, what you want.
When somebody gets you with the what you want, then you tip them minimal because you know they have
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but that's when you tip. That's when I tip people like 10%. And the reason I do 10% is I do 10% on card because that hits you twice. 1, the government now knows how much tip you got. And 2, you still got to split it with kitchen. So that's just as bad as me not tipping you at all. Now that this has been processed and through, there's a paper trail on this shit. And on top of that, now the kitchen knows you got tipped, so they going to come for their part. Because people keep forgetting is that the kitchen also gets part of the tips at most places. Even though it's fucked up, because those niggas is making like $10, $12, $13 an hour, which, I mean, it's not the best, but at the same time, that shit racks up, especially since half the time the kitchen staff is understaffed because niggas don't show up for work. So you're getting overtime because you're an hourly employee and you're getting tips on top of that.
See, I go into a restaurant with the expectations of tipping. I don't step foot in a single restaurant without the expectation of the tipping.
Correct.
It's whether the job you put forth dictates how much of the tip you get. So if I'm looking at somebody, even if they're a bad server, I tip them $1 as an insult to them. Like, yo, you could have had more, but nah, you chose this.
See, I would write that out. I'd write out, you could have had more.
Yeah.
But the service was terrible.
But I always go to the restaurant. I never go out anywhere. If I'm going to go to a service restaurant, I'm always cognitive of, okay, I'm tipping whoever. But based on your service, I'm like, all right, that's $1 out of their pocket. Oh, they didn't refill my water. You let my water get this low? All right, that's another $1. All right. Also, by the end of the day, you at $1. So I'm gonna break it down to $1. But this chick, boy, this is an entitled bitch right here. Because I just read the story.
Yeah,
and it said
she said
everything was perfect until he put out, like, bitch, where your priorities at? You mean to tell me this nigga paid for the meal and your concern is a tip? The tip is obligation because it said suggested gratuity. So it's not like it's where I went spondivits. Them niggas took they 15%. They took my bill was $100-something at Spondivits. They took the gratuity out.
Oh no, they do because also they know they Southside niggas is niggas, so they don't take their money out off top.
They took the money out.
But also when places do stuff like that, I don't give you any additional tip because
no, you got yours, baby.
You got yours.
Yeah. You don't get nothing additional. Hey,
now the only exception is there was one time. Now, this chick really took care of the table, and I had, like, one of my little cousins with me, and he had been acting a straight-up fool. But this lady managed to calm the kid down, get him everything he wanted. So, yeah, we threw her some extra shit on top of it being, like, a gratuity added on top because it was a party over 6 or 5 or some shit like that. But I feel what you're saying. Like, this chick is ridiculous. Man, and this is the kind of stuff that...
It's entitled.
This is the kind of stuff that it's like, you met a great man... And you gonna give him up and watch some other chick on.
And then you post it like
exactly. Then you have the audacity to post.
This nigga spent $96. I can't even get this nigga to spend $15 on
Exactly. Because I know in the comment section, those girls like, hey, what's this nigga's number?
What type of bitch?
What city is this? Because women, especially like between this story and last week's story, there's plenty of women who's like, look, you tripping? Who am I? And how can I get this man?
I mean, he did leave it tips. Technically, if he dropped 100, I don't think he was expecting change.
No, he wasn't expecting change. This man came to your city. Yeah. This man probably been spending money like water. He dropped a crisp $100 bill out. That's how you know this man getting paid. And on top of this, you're gonna get mad. Like people trip over dumb stuff. Last but not least, I know this is our controversial segment, our unpopular opinion. So there's been a lot of talk about high school trans women and women's track. Are they changing it for the better or are they changing it for the worse?
Oh, they're not changing it at all. Let them trans women race regular women so y'all can see how terrible you are compared to men. All right? It's just fact of it. Men are stronger and faster. It is what it is. We're not equals when it comes to that. So maybe you should have your own sports. But if you consider trans women to be women, then they should be there, right?
Yeah, that's why I 100% agree. I'm right behind it. People are like, but their times are so much Trans women are women, right? So if we're saying they're women...
That's what you say.
If we're saying we're saying that trans women are women,
if you're saying
women are some of the biggest supporters
of the gay community.
All right. Well, thanks again, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to Everyday Black Men podcast. We had our guest Mogul on there. He was dope. You'll get to hear his initial entrance into the Everyday Black Men podcast soon. Armstead, R. Reed, anything you want to tell the people? All right. Of course, you can catch us on Twitter at EVYD Black Men, Instagram on Everyday Black Men, and Everyday Black Men Facebook page. Patreon coming soon.